Hi everyone, it's Dixon here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you the best accessories for your MacBook Air M1. If you're new to my channel, please remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my future videos. Otherwise, let's get to it. When it comes to accessories for your home setup, keyboard and mouse is probably going to be one of the first things that you consider. And when it comes to the mouse, I went for the MX Master 3, which you can see up close now. And this is honestly one of the most comfortable mice which I've ever used. And I've used a lot of Razer products in the past and, Microsoft variants, that sort of stuff. But this I found to be brilliant. It also has lots of different features packed inside it. So you've got lots of extra buttons and stuff, which you can see on the side. And the scroll wheel on this basically means that you can scroll until your heart's content, because it basically has like a ball bearing inside, meaning that you can just fly up and down pages. And when it comes to productivity, you can use the Logitech Options app, and it enables you to map different commands to each of the different buttons on the mouse. And if you want further details and all of that stuff, I've done a great review on both the mouse and the keyboard, so you can go and check out that video, which is popping up in the corner now for more details. But when it comes to comfort and everything else, I've just found this absolutely brilliant. Definitely a must-have when you're working from home. Next up, of course, will be the keyboard which you're using in your home setup. I decided to go for the Logitech MX keys. I just think it looks incredibly slick. It's very minimalist. It's got that lovely sort of space grey finish all the way around, so it's got that premium feel, just like a lot of the Apple products. So it's going to look great alongside your MacBook. And I think huge benefits with this, it's got many, but among them are that the keyboards can be mapped and changed easily according to your operating system. So if you're switching between Windows and Apple, or rather Windows and macOS on a frequent basis like I am, then you can easily just switch the keyboard layout at the flick of a button, and you can go ahead without getting upset about where those keys are mapped. So you'll notice close up on the keyboard, things like Command and the Windows button, it's all clearly mapped on there, and that will switch according to which layout you choose. So it's been incredibly helpful for me, switching from what I'm doing day to day at work on Windows 10, then switching to things like video editing on my MacBook. So that's been great. And using the app, you can again customize so many of the function buttons across the top. So when it comes to productivity, this keyboard has been fantastic. The keyboard lights up as well. The battery life has been really good, and I found it very responsive and very comfortable to use. Not perhaps the most ergonomic keyboard out there, so if you compare it to something like a mechanical keyboard, for example, but I found it comfortable for what I'm doing. I'm not exactly writing essays out, but I found it good for my day-to-day use. One of the big decisions you're going to make for your home office setup is the monitor or monitors that you're going to be using. And I've actually got two Dell P242 1D monitors. I think I got that name right. So they're just behind me. I'll explain about how I do dual monitor in just a second, but they have a decent resolution, so 2560 by 1440, so nice and crisp. And out of the box, I've been really impressed with the colours that these offer straight away. And actually, I'm not bothered to edit them. Things like watching video and stuff on there is really good. I've been using these for my video editing, and of course, having larger screen space is really important to me for having that timeline where I'm cutting and trimming all of the video and audio and adding effects, that sort of stuff. And I think for this sort of price range, I've just been really pleased with what these have to offer. And with two of these set up, of course, it's great for multitasking. So having one app on one screen and one on the other. In terms of aesthetics, I think they look pretty slick as well. They've got really nice thin bezels wrapped around the screen. They're very thin. And if you really want to, I've just stuck with the out-of-the-box stands that they come from. So they are fully adjustable, so you can move them up and down to your liking. You can tilt them forwards and backwards and rotate them, all that stuff until your heart's content. So you can definitely get these set up exactly how you want them. But of course, you can go ahead and buy like a separate arm, which you then stick on the back of your desk if you want to make it look even more minimalist. So these have a lot of flexibility. I think are great value for money, and I definitely recommend checking these out as part of your home office setup. So you may have noticed that I've said that I've been using dual monitors with the MacBook Air M1, and you probably already know by now that out of the box, the MacBook Air M1 doesn't support dual monitors. And so what I actually did was I wanted to try and get my existing docking station to see if I can get support. So what I have is the Dell D6000 docking station, and I've been using this for my Windows setup for day-to-day work, and obviously dual monitors works fine with that. And I'm pleased to say that with a recent update, DisplayLink now support the latest M1 products, which means that dual monitor support works perfectly fine, and I've done a separate video on exactly how you can get that set up, so please click on the banner at the top if you want to check that out. And I've been using this setup for about 3 months now, and I've had no issues whatsoever. It's all very stable. As long as you've got that app installed by DisplayLink, it works perfectly. Whilst it's great to have dual monitors running with your MacBook, another huge benefit of course is having the extra ports available. So as you know, out of the box on our MacBook Air M1, all we have are the 2 USB-C Thunderbolt ports. And on the docking station, you've got extra ports like the regular USB-A, as well as one USB-C, you've got HDMI and a couple of display ports on there as well. So this is going to come in handy if you've got perhaps some older equipment or many other accessories that you want to get connected to your laptop. And I found this incredibly useful, even for things like plugging in my microphone or headset, that sort of stuff. So a definite recommendation from me. Whether you have a large or a small desk, you're going to want to keep it all nice and tidy, so I highly recommend getting yourself a laptop stand. I decided to go for a Lentian Space Grey variant, so it kind of goes nicely with the space grey colour of the MacBook Air M1. Not exactly the same colour, but it looks close enough and it looks very minimalist alongside everything else. And a great thing with this particular laptop stand is that you can adjust the size. So if, like me, you're switching between different laptops, so I'm going between my MacBook Air M1 and my Windows 10 laptop, which is a Dell Latitude, I can adjust the size of that with ease so that I can use it for both of them. And I've been using this for about 3 months now. It's nice and sturdy, and again, it just means I can kind of hide the laptop out of the way, just to the side of my dual monitors. And we don't want to have loads of space taken up on our desks by putting the MacBook Air M1 down on the desk itself. So something I definitely recommend purchasing. Depending on the configuration you went for your MacBook Air M1 in terms of capacity or your type of usage, you're probably going to want to consider getting something like this at one point, which is an external SSD card. So I've gone for this Samsung T7. The performance on these is pretty good. It's not going to be as fast as the performance on the internal SSD, which to be honest is fantastic in these MacBooks. I have done a separate video showing the difference in speeds and what these are actually like in terms of performance, but I've actually been able to use these for video editing, and so this is me using 4K content, and as you can see in my hand, these are just so portable and you're not going to have to worry about carrying these around or anything. You could put this in your pocket and forget about it with ease. And these are relatively cheap as well. So I bought this for around, I think it was £135, £140, something like that. And that's for 1 terabyte of space. So I really recommend getting something like this. If you don't need something to be quite so quick, again, I've gone for the T7 variant. There is a T5, which is probably perfectly adequate for many of you out there. So again, just considering your usage, if it's perhaps for something like 4K video editing, I'd say probably go for this type of variant just because of the speed boost. Otherwise, I'd say go to something like the T5. But these things are incredibly helpful. I've been using this to back up my 4K videos, and again, sometimes I use this just to directly edit straight from the disk itself. So definitely going to come in handy. These come in different colours. I went for the bright red colour. I normally stick to sort of boring space grey and black, but to be honest, when it comes to stuff like this, I like to think I can find these with ease without having to worry about where I put it in the drawer. So this is going to catch my eye when I'm fumbling around in my drawer. So a lot of the accessories which I've covered so far are about improving your home office setup, which is great of course, but what we have are very portable MacBooks on our hands. So I think I'll just want to run through a few accessories for when you're out and about. And I think one of the key things to have if you're into video editing or photography is of course an external SD card, and so you're also going to have to buy an SD card adapter. I just decided to stick with the official Apple variant just because I think these are probably going to end up being a bit more reliable than some of the cheaper versions that you can get out there. Some of them I'm sure are fine, but after paying so much money for my MacBook, I prefer to have the official one so that I don't run the risk of having to worry about if it's going to overheat or something weird and damage the laptop or maybe even the SD card. For the SD card itself, I went for a SanDisk Extreme Pro 128GB capacity, and this has transfer speeds of up to 170 megabits per second. So this is obviously perfectly fine for 4K video, which is what I'm currently using it for. And I think 128 gigabytes is probably going to be fine for a lot of people doing similar stuff to me. So if you're doing some 4K videos and lots of photography, that's probably going to be a good enough capacity for you out there. And I've been really pleased with the performance on my Sony ZV-1. And again, this is for 4K video, which is being shot right now. So a definite recommendation there. As I mentioned earlier, the MacBook Air M1 only has 2 ports, which are the USB-C Thunderbolt ports. And of course, that's all well and good. They have great speeds, which they can operate at. But you probably, like me, have lots of different products and cables and stuff, which is the old school USB-A connection. So just a nice quick one here. I recommend going for the official Apple adapter, which is USB-A to USB-C. I've been using this with my Rode NT USB microphone for about 3 months now for all of my YouTube videos and haven't had any issues at all with it dropping connection or anything weird like that. So I just tend to stick to the official Apple ones here, just in case some of the cheap ones out there, I don't know, somehow overheat or have any damage, that sort of stuff. I just tend to stick to it. A little bit more expensive, but I think you know what you're going to get for the money with that. So that's my recommendation there. Whilst I love showing off that lovely space grey metallic finish of the MacBook Air, I do still think that it's critical to actually have a good protective case for when you're out and about. And when you're throwing your laptop in your backpack, I'm always going to be concerned about things like scratches from stuff like keys or pens or whatever's in there. And so what I did is I went ahead and bought something like this, which is the TomTop case. And you'll see it's like a nice light grey colour. It comes in all different colours, so you can go ahead and choose one to your liking. I just tend to stick to the more monotonous grey colours. That's me, that's my personality. But what you'll see is just on the inside, this is what it's all about. So you get that real great protective interior with these like ball-shaped things inside, and it's nice and soft on the inside. So basically you can relax a little bit knowing it can be thrown around in your backpack without having to worry too much, and it just offers some good protection from general knocks and putting your bag down or perhaps dropping your bag, that sort of stuff. So definitely check something like this out, if not this exact one, something similar. But I've been really pleased with this for the past 3 months. So there you have it. Those are all of the accessories which I've been using for the past 3 months. So that's to get my nice looking home office setup with my dual monitors, my nice keyboard and mouse, and all of those accessories for when you're out and about with your laptop. So if you have any questions or anything, please post them in the comments down below. Happy to answer them. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.